Gal Gadot is being attacked and criticized online because she, obviously, actress playing Wonder Woman, and her director from Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins, are supposed to be working on Cleopatra, with, obviously, Gal Gadot being Cleopatra. Why is she being attacked online? Why is it a problem if she decides to do Cleopatra with Patty Jenkins? Well, here's their argument. Their argument is coming from The Guardian. Now, this is kind of a leftist publication, The Guardian. They kind of take that point of view of, like, let's push all the SJW stuff. And I think it'd be interesting. We could look at it from their point of view. We could look at it from the point of view of Bounding into Comics, which is more of a kind of conservative point of view, and talking about how she's being attacked specifically. But I think it's interesting to look at, well, okay, if you don't want Gal Gadot to collaborate with Patty Jenkins, the successful directing actor team from Wonder Woman, then why not, really? Like, go ahead and make your argument. We'll hear you out. Because that's what reasonable people do. We'll hear out what they have to say, see how sensible it is. Before we get into the article, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. That is the best way to support me, and I appreciate you doing that. It inspires me to make more videos. So Gal Gadot as Cleopatra is a backward step for Hollywood representation, which is a strange statement to make. And just even wording a headline like this, it makes you think, like, backward step for representation. What do you even mean? Well, what they mean is they want to push as much of their agenda in casting, in storytelling, in even the physical making of the movies. You've got to have a certain quota. It's throughout the entire process now in Hollywood. It's really poisoned, the whole process, because characters and stories and even creative teams and crews, it should be subject to, there are so many conditions. It should be subject to artistic considerations by the creative people making the creative project, which is what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a widget produced by some sort of centralized government. It's supposed to be art. It's supposed to move and inspire people to do things. And that's the creative considerations. And then there are also commercial considerations in terms of, all right, well, they've got to make a certain budget. They've got to have certain people with certain levels of experience that have certain availability. And you can't just pick cast and crew based on making them look a certain way. You need it to be a successful financial and creative production. Casting misses here's what they claim. Casting misses the chance to give North African actors a higher profile, prolonging the debate over Hollywood's colonization of ethnicity. So don't cast someone unless they're from North Africa to play Cleopatra, because Cleopatra was from North Africa. That is the argument. How dare they? How dare they try to make any kind of art or any kind of story based on people that have appeal and already are successful? That's their argument. Okay. Cleopatra is once again getting a big screen treatment, this time courtesy of Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins and the DC heroine herself, Gal Gadot. So can you kind of immediately see why this got sold? This got sold because Wonder Woman almost did $1 billion at the box office. Obviously, these two, Gal Gadot and Patty Jenkins, the director, have a relationship together that is a commercial and creative success. So what a great idea to take them and position her as Cleopatra. That's brilliant. That's going to make money. It's going to do well, unless there are no movies, which we'll see if movie theaters open back up again. I assume that they will. They will. But even with a female director and female screenwriter in Leila Kalogridis on board, the casting of an Israeli actor with Ashkenazi Jewish heritage as the legendary Queen of Egypt has led to a, quote, not unfounded debate about Hollywood whitewashing. Well, Israelis are not white people. They usually are slightly darker skin. She's from the Middle East. You know, you could throw a rock from Israel and hit Egypt. So she's like of that area. So they shouldn't be attacking her for that. And as far as her being Jewish or not Jewish, you can't bring people's religious backgrounds into these things. There are a lot of people in Israel that are not Jewish. She happens to be somebody who is Jewish. Israel is considered a quote Jewish state, but they have a large non-Jewish population, and they're very tolerant of them. It's just kind of the way it is. It's reality. In recent years, historians, SJW historians, we're not classifying that, but okay, historians such as Hilke Thur of the Austrian Academy of Sciences have questioned the long-held belief that Cleopatra VII was white. What difference would that be? I don't see what difference that would make. Scholars agree that there's no doubt that Cleo was a Macedonian Greek on her father Ptolemy this. I see these names all the time. Ptolemy the 12th side, potentially Persian or Syrian too, but because the ethnic origin of her mother remains unverified, it has strengthened the idea that the Egyptian ruler was of mixed heritage. Okay. What does that have to do with anything? I don't get it. If you get it in the comments below, tell me. I just don't get it. The mother of Cleopatra has been suggested to have been from the family of priests of Memphis. Betsy M. Ryan, Alexander Badaway, professor of Egyptian art and archaeology at Johns Hopkins University, told Newsweek, if this were the case, then Cleopatra could have been at least 50% Egyptian in origin. Okay. Again, this is a lot of, there's a lot of history and there's a lot of background to every character. That's important. It's relevant. But it doesn't necessarily mean that this is just going to be like a 2-hour or maybe hour and a half movie. It's not going to be a 48-hour or 300-hour series of films. So you're not going to tell her whole story and her whole background and her whole lineage with who her mother was. It's not part of the story at all. Not at all. The question is, can Gal Gadot as an actor carry off a believable and interesting Cleopatra as they tell whatever part of the story of the life of Cleopatra they're going to tell? They could tell Cleopatra's story as a child, but apparently they're not going to do that. But, you'd cast it to fit the story that you're going to tell, as well as, because these things cost $100, $200 million to make, you're going to cast it so that people can, there's going to be a reasonable financial support to make a really important, iconic movie so that it kind of lasts forever. So these other considerations of whether or not somebody was half Egyptian, what does that mean to anyone? It's a wonder. Okay, so with that in mind, the criticism of Gadot's casting is understandable. No, it's not. The film industry has long had a frustrating habit of whitewashing history and movies about Cleopatra, thanks to white actors such as Elizabeth Taylor, Hildegard Neal, Claudia Colbert, and Vivien Leigh. Those are the only actors around at that time that could play those roles, essentially, that were of that color. That's the way it was. That's not the way it is now, but that's the way it was. And Gal Gadot is not white. They've cemented her Western appearance on screen. Okay, so Gal Gadot in the role continues this trend, but it's not as clear-cut as that. No, she's Middle Eastern. What do you want her to be? She could just be who she is, right? And you could accept her for who she is and what she looks like. And that's it. And if it doesn't fit in to a larger agenda, well, then it's kind of just too bad, right? Except that the people in control of studios are making all sorts of changes where they're forcing quotas on all kinds of things. And they've got their own government now running the film industry. Viacom, CBS, this just came out, expands their no diversity, no commission policy to 180 countries. What does that mean? What does no commission mean? It means if you don't meet their diversity quota guidelines, they will prevent you from making your project. There will be no TV project, no film project, no streaming project, whatever they're associated with. They're forcing their minimum quotas on cast members, on stories, and on the people that are making the projects. So you've got to have whatever their quota is, their mini government of that. Hopefully this will be challenged by courts, because you really can't have Hollywood or any other outside group like colleges were trying to do decide what is and isn't racism and then enforce it, leveraging their market control or financial control. That's what we have government for. We don't want government outside of government. We don't want massive market controls outside of government, whether it's for monopoly or it's for weird social agendas. The actor just, okay, yes, she ticks the box. Fine. So this is their last. I mean, it's. I'm going to include a link to this. Read it if you're curious about it. But this is the thrust of their argument here. That why would you have to use Gal Gadot? Gadot has proven herself that a nobody can become an A-lister when given the chance to play a massive role. So given what we now understand about the Queen of Egypt's heritage, and which no one's saying that we actually do understand that. So that's quite a little leap there at the end. You didn't prove anything. You mentioned that some person recently or some persons recently have made claims that, oh, she can't look white, she can't look white, she can't look like she's from Israel. While the battle for better representation of ethnic minorities continues, it seemed like a missed opportunity that Cleopatra's next appearance will be more representative of Hollywood's past than North Africa's present. Well, the whole thing is you can't spend $200 million on a project and give up the opportunity to put together an A-list director and an A-list actor. You don't just pick a nobody off the street. Why? Because it's still a commercial enterprise. Like, these movies are not like financed by the government and sanctioned as documentary pieces. They're trying to make money, at least partially. They do have agendas on top of that, which are more important than some of the money. But they're not just going to grab someone off the street and make a project. Like, this is, to get to the point where you have a proven commodity, studios have to invest hundreds of millions and billions of dollars to get to the point where they develop a relationship with a franchise actor like Gal Gadot, and the relationship with the director as well. Why let a white director make a movie? Well, it doesn't matter what it matters if they can do the job. It matters if they have a proven track record. That's what we're trying to hold on to in society, because if you take away merit, people that have accomplished something, why would you not want to support the people who've accomplished things? And tell me what you think in the comments below. And also, speaking of powerful women, you can support my project by going to epicmermaids.com and just signing up for the email list. I'm going to be announcing the release of it soon. Epicmermaids.com is a, like Game of Thrones meets The Mermaids, is the best way to put it. It's a well-developed, full-color, 48-page graphic novel. It is very cool. Gal Gadot has not signed on yet to do the movie adaptation. We're just working on the graphic novel right now. There's just a graphic novel coming out. All right, I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.